This is the Czech Republic's brand new high-speed railway line. Connecting České Budějovice and Prague, will be traveling along this recently upgraded railway line, which is setting speed records for domestic rail travel in the Czech Republic, now allowing the 20-year-old Pendolino trains to finally reach their designed maximum speed of 200 km per hour. So join me on board in first class as we race towards the Czech capital in comfort while checking out all the highlights of this new and improved railway. My name is Simon, and today we are catching Czechia's fastest train. Our journey begins in the early morning hours from the main station in the southern Czech town of České Budějovice. Of course, this place is probably most famous for being the home of the Budweiser beer, but I definitely think it should also be known for its beautiful railway station. The reason for the early start today is currently there is only one round-trip service every day taking full advantage of the new high-speed railway line, with plenty of other slightly slower but much less interesting services connecting the cities throughout the day. But I am very happy to be here this early. Take a look at this beautifully restored station building, which looks stunning under the new lighting. The restoration works of the station were completed just last year, and as you'd expect, the station is then very much up to date, with a modern ticket office, a few shops and some benches. The station really does look beautiful, and it's nice to see the inclusion of so many art pieces. A quick look at the modern departure board reveals that our train will be departing from platform number 1 this morning. However, despite our train already sitting on the platform, it's not quite ready for boarding yet. So we have a brief moment to check out the other train traffic at this early hour. The station sees plenty of local services, mostly operated by the popular Skoda Panda units, found all over the Czech Republic. And parked over here is one of the Austrian Railways local trains that will operate the first service of the day across the border to Linz. However, we'll be catching this Alstom Pendolino train, delivered to České dráhy in 2006, and for the first time since delivery, these trains now run at the maximum speed of 200 km per hour in regular service. Our intercity service up to Prague is now ready for boarding, so let's head on board and check out this exciting new train service. I'll be traveling in first class today, which is found towards the rear of the train in carriage number 2. First class comes in an expected 2+1 layout with these stylish seats mostly situated around tables. Despite the trains now being about 20 years old, they still look great on the inside as České dráhy has taken great care of them. Luggage can be placed in the large rack in the middle of the carriage, and smaller items can go in the space above your seat. I've reserved seat 71 today, one of the solo seats situated around a table. Waiting at your seat is the Czech Railways onboard magazine, as well as a menu from the onboard kitchen, which we'll be sure to try out later. And after settling in the seat and a couple more minutes of waiting, our train departs on time for Prague at 5:59. And after slowly making our way out of the station, we will soon be heading for the first of the 2 new sections of high-speed railway. So let's have a quick look at the route we'll be traveling along today. We are catching the new Intercity 590 service launched just last month in September 2025. Leaving from České Budějovice, we'll make one stop in Tabo, traveling along the 2 new high-speed railway segments to Prague, covering a distance of 165 km in just 90 minutes, giving the train an average speed of 110 km per hour. It will still be a little while before daylight breaks and we reach the first of the 2 high-speed sections, so let's instead take a closer look at the seats here in first class. Most of them feature a table like this that folds out to create an even larger surface, and at most seats there's also a bin by the window. A bit of a flawed design with the tables is this supporting pole that makes it quite hard to find a comfortable place to rest your legs. Below the seat you'll find one regular power outlet as well as 2 USB-A outlets. And I have to mention the really cool motorized window blinds, which are pretty common on Pendolino models from around the early 2000s. The seat itself features a comfortable ergonomic shape with a stylish leather finish, and I really find the headrest pillows on these seats to be quite comfortable, with the whole seat in general being quite well padded. The armrest can be adjusted and is padded for extra comfort, while the seat base slides slightly forward into an enhanced relaxation position. Overall, it's a really comfortable seat, but I don't really think it's worth the upgrade on this train, which will become a little more clear as to why when I show you the second class seats on board the train a bit later in the video. Not long after departure, the crew passes out complimentary bottles of water to all passengers. It's also now the first bit of daylight starts to break, which also means we are coming up on the first of the two new high-speed railway segments. The first section of high-speed railway line is a new alignment with about 10 kilometers of new double-track high-speed railway, replacing the old and slow single-track stretch between these two places. 10 kilometers is not a lot, so it'll be interesting to see if we have enough time to actually accelerate up to 200 kilometers per hour, which is a speed that only tilting trains are permitted. We can hear the tilting system on board the train working here. It simply tilts the train slightly into curves, allowing the train to pass them comfortably at higher speeds. We are now traveling along the new stretch of railway, speeding past the cars on the motorway next to us. Unfortunately today we didn't quite manage to hit the 200 km per hour on this short section, but there's still a chance of reaching the record-breaking speed on the next segment after Tabo. But before we get there though, let me show you the rest of the train's interior. As mentioned, first class comes in a 1+2 layout with these stylish leather seats, and it's quite popular on this morning departure. In the corridor between the carriages is where you'll find the toilets. Being the first service of the day, this was well stocked with paper towels and was looking very clean. The water was functional, although the pressure could be better, and the toilet itself was working without issue, so I'm giving Chesabjo a thumbs up. The next carriage is where the train's onboard kitchen is located. There's no proper dining car on board this train, but just a takeaway counter. Table service is however offered to passengers in first class. Next up is second class, which is unusually spacious on board the Czechia Pendolinos, featuring the same 2+1 layout like in first class. The seats are largely identical, just with the seats being covered in a fabric instead of a leather-like material. Second class also features a dedicated area for kids, which is meant to be showing cartoons. There's also a small dedicated area for bikes on board, as well as an accessible toilet. However, as a high-floor train, there are steps into the train. Anyway, back at my seat, we are now approaching Tábor. This is our only intermediate stop on today's journey. Tábor is home to about 30,000 people and serves as a major transportation hub in the region. It also holds an important place in Czech railway history as the starting point for the country's first electrified railway line, which opened back in 1903. After our stop here, we continue on time, running non-stop towards the capital. Just north of Tábor, after flying over the D3 motorway on this brand new bridge, we entered the slightly longer stretch of nearly 20 kilometers of new high-speed railway, allowing our train to once again accelerate towards 200 km per hour. Up until now, all trains in the Czech Republic have been limited to 160 km per hour, mainly due to outdated signaling system and poor railway alignments. But with this new section of track and modern ETCS signaling in action, for the very first time in Czech railway history, this once-a-day Pendolino service can reach 200 km per hour, making it the fastest domestic rail service in the country and the first one to just about scratch the definition of high-speed rail, depending on your definition of course. However, it is worth noting that for years Czech trains have reached 200 km per hour, but only when operating on faster railway lines abroad. But from next year, the new ComfortJet trains will be pushing up to 230 when running on international lines such as between Berlin and Hamburg. Just like that, our trip at 200 km per hour is now over, and with just over half an hour to go before we reach Prague, it's time to place an order for some breakfast with the first class attendant. While the kitchen prepares my order, the landscape outside slowly shifts from quiet fields to denser towns as we begin to meet the first of Prague's suburban commuter villages. Unfortunately, the combination of the uninspiring weather and the fairly small windows on this Pendolino model makes the scenery a little less engaging. Doom scrolling on the free Wi-Fi might seem like a more appealing option though, but unfortunately the connection on this train isn't particularly fast either. And as we speed through the suburbs, overtaking the busy double-decker commuter trains carrying people into the capital, my breakfast is served. I went for the combination of sausages served with horseradish, bread and condiments, as well as a cappuccino, which costs 169 Czech crowns. I'm sure this combination is probably a food crime somewhere, but I was happy to finally get some food after a very early alarm clock this morning. We are now just 10 minutes from Prague main station, passing by busy shoulder stations like Hustiva, as the core of the city gradually becomes visible in the distance. So let me start summarizing this journey and the future of high-speed rail in the Czech Republic. While this new service very much is just a small novelty, one can hope with the introduction of the new timetable in December 2025, more Pendolino trains will be extended south from Prague to fully take advantage of the new top speed on this line. Currently, there are many plans underway to build a proper high-speed railway line in the Czech Republic. These include upgrading existing corridors to allow for speeds to up to 200 or more kilometers per hour through smaller but impactful projects, such as with the line here seen in the video from České Budějovice. But in addition to this, there's also a more ambitious plan to construct dedicated high-speed railway lines connecting the three major Czech cities, Brno, Ostrava and Prague. So the future for fast trains in Czechia seems exciting. And as we now enter the Vinohrady tunnel, taking us into Prague main station, it's time to summarize the journey. A first class ticket from České Budějovice on this train is a fixed price of 446 Czech crowns. Not unreasonable, but considering second class can often be under half price of this if purchased in advance, I'd generally just stick with second class. It's great to see the Czech Republic continue to invest in their railway network, and now finally dipping their toes ever so slightly into the high-speed rail territory. In the end, our train arrives at Prague main station bang on time at 7:29 after a comfortable and fast journey. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed to the channel as I try to post a new one like this every Sunday. You can also follow me over on Blue Sky at intercitysimon.com. I usually post live from my travels in real time over there, so it's a great place to get a sneak peek of what videos might be coming on the channel in the future. Thanks for watching.